Hi everyone, Thursday, it's the 3rd and it's 6 minutes past 9 a.m. here in Australia. Here's my latest video blog. I wanted to do another awareness video talking about data and how that corresponds to the blockchain and what's potentially ahead for us. I also wanted to touch on what's been going on in the news, and anyone that's been watching the news would have seen Mark Zuckerberg in court being grilled by a panel of senators who don't know much about the internet. It was quite humorous to watch. But I asked myself when I saw this event, I said, why is Mark Zuckerberg in front of the cameras like this and all of this being presented to the masses? And that's what I do now. When you watch the news, you've got to ask yourself, why is this being presented to the masses and what's the end purpose? Now, I think there's a couple of things here. Number one, they put Mark on the spot because I think he's had a control of a huge market share in regards to on-selling our information and our data to a lot of corporates, and I'm going to touch on what type of corporates they are. The other side of it is I think this entire market in regards to data is going to be opened up, and I think there's going to be huge potential for other companies to come in and be able to leverage our information to further enhance their progress in society and be able to empower their companies and their products and their services with a lot more autonomy, because at the moment we see Google, Yahoo, we see YouTube, we see Facebook, we see a lot of the apps, things like Snapchat and all of this stuff, which is actually skimming all of our information. There's no doubt they're putting that into a basket and selling it to certain corporates for a return. Now, at the moment, obviously, our information, we're not making any money from that, and you don't have to make money from your own data. But I think the reality is, when the internet first started, I don't think we really were mindful about our footprints. We were jumping on Facebook and showing pictures of our children and our lunches and our holidays and expressing how we felt, and obviously Messenger's not very secure either. There's Autobots skimming keywords and information from that, and if you look at how Google corresponds, and I think some people relate to this, they'll go and have a conversation maybe through Messenger. They're not totally sure where they've actually said a few key words, and all of a sudden they see an advert on Facebook for the same thing that they were talking about during the day. So the mindfulness about leaving our footprints is probably something that we should be a little bit more conscious of. What are we leaving behind? And as the internet as it is right now is not very safe if you want to live a private life. So the big thing for data is that, and the way blockchain is going to work, I think there's going to be a lot more control or a bigger opportunity for us as an individual to be able to obtain our own data, put it into categories, and on-sell that to corporate entities if we so choose. Now, what I'm looking for in the future, and I have touched on this in previous videos, is that I'd like to see a central hub where we log on to our preferred platform, whether it's a desktop or a device, I should say, or a phone or whatever, and it opens up into an encrypted zone. In that particular hub, we have the ability to control all of our daily activities. So whether that's talking to your mum on the phone, or sending an email, or surfing the internet, or doing some banking, obviously with cryptocurrencies and things, that's going to be the norm. Maybe you want to do a bit of trading, maybe you just want to buy a book from Amazon or something like that. But all of these things and all of these movements are private, in the sense that all of those footprints that you're leaving behind on the internet are held within and encrypted within your personal data space, if that makes sense. So what's happening, and I wanted to just bring some awareness to some blockchain opportunities, or what I should say is I suppose the evolution of blockchain, in the sense of how our personal data is going to be available for us to trade. Now, I have done a video on Data Wallet and a couple of others. So this is a very, very, very competitive space, and that's what I think that whole Facebook thing on TV was about. It was about a few of the big boys sitting down with Mark and saying, "Look, you've had it good for a while. Blockchain's coming. This is what we're looking at doing. We've got a whole heap of blockchains which are so-called decentralized, but I think if you look at the back end, there's some big boys who are behind all of this, and they'll probably be making the fees, and I can leave that for another video. But the reality is we're seeing these type of platforms come forward where we will be able to monetize our data if we so choose. And I like the idea of that. It doesn't mean you have to go and sell your data. However, I think being able to control our data is the first premise. So that's what's happening in the space. And this one is called Opiria, Opiria.io, or Pdata token. Doing throughout the day could be your retail choices, could be who you with banking, it could be certain things or certain activities that you do. Like I've touched on this before. I own a gym here. I've got lots of people moving around. It'd be interesting if I could collate data from that with their consent, of course, and forward it to a fitness company like a Fitbit company or something like that, and they use that data to improve their products. And if that means that I'm making a residual passive income for a monthly set of information, that sort of makes interest to me. That's of interest to me. And I think there's a lot of companies and a lot of niche markets out there that could actually benefit from such an income stream. And anyway, everyone's looking for a little bit of extra pocket money, so this is of interest to me. So Opiria, looking to monetize your data through a decentralized exchange. So the vision is to develop a global decentralized marketplace for the secure and transparent trading of personal data based on the blockchain. Establish Pdata token as the currency that expresses the value of personal data. So from what I understand, they're going to be setting up a highway. So you'll have your information and you'll set up through smart contracts arrangements, consensual arrangements with corporate entities to sell your information based on whatever that is at your own discretion. And I think that's a very empowering thing. And if that means we're protecting our life and our footprints or our movements on the internet, I can only see this being a positive thing. So what they're doing is they're building an Ethereum blockchain, and it's going to be a marketplace for secure and transparent buying and selling of personal data. The Opiria platform enables consumers to create a passive income stream by monetizing their personal data. Companies can buy personal data directly from consumers. Pdata token is the currency that expresses the value of personal data. So sounds interesting so far, and like I said, I think it's going to be a very, very competitive space. There's going to be quite a few of these coming out, and it's going to be a race. It's like anything. This is a niche market. This is data on selling or data collation or whatever you want to call it. And whoever can get first to market is going to be pretty much in good stead. But so this is just a little infographic, and I like to try to find out how they're actually going to do it. And I think this space is really going to evolve, where I do believe we're going to have a portal. So you can imagine this little graphic. This is not a representation of it. However, you'll be able to log in and all your information is there. You can see graphs, all your footprints. It's quite an amazing concept just to be able to see what you've been doing. And it's amazing when you do things like this, where you do a little bit of self-assessment on your behaviour. I've done it here with my clients in regards to like nutrition plans, and we'll write out what they've been eating over a week, 2, 3, 4 weeks. And then when you actually come back and have a look at it, it's quite a surprise to see what you've actually been putting in your body. And I imagine it'll be quite the same with data and actually understanding what you've been looking at and where you've been going. How many hours do you spend on Facebook? I did that the other day. My battery was going flat. Anyone that's in crypto would probably realise how many hours they're looking at Blockfolio and the battery's going flat. But yeah, it's one of those things we've got to be really mindful with technology. So yeah, like I said, there's going to be a connection between the consumer, goes through via the tokens and smart contracts through the Ethereum platform or the Opiria platform, which is going to be on Ethereum through probably an ERC20 token, and then you can on-sell that through an online working product. And that's the big thing that I've looked into with Opiria. They've actually got an existing working application, and they've already got massive and huge relationships around the world. So they've already been doing this, and I've never heard of this before. All of a sudden, here it is, and I've got a tab here with some of the relationships that they've already been doing. It looks like automobiles. So you've got Audi, P&G, Freightliner, Mercedes-Benz, GM, Nissan, Volkswagen. You've got Intel, computers, BMW. So the Opiria has already been operating worldwide through quite a lot of the Fortune 500 brands. So this tells me that they've already been skimming our information, and that's why I think this whole Facebook thing with putting Mark out there was sort of their way of saying, trying to reduce the emotional energy behind the reality that they've been stealing our information for billions of dollars for the last 15 years since the internet really came to life. And it stops us going after class actions and things like that. I think people need to remember that. That's why they do it. It's sort of saying, hey, we've given Mark a slap over the wrist, everyone, everything's okay. However, we've been stealing your information for years. But here, look, what we've decided to do is create an opportunity for you to deliberately sell your information to us, because I think these type of platforms, what they're going to do is probably be able to obtain and skim more information. And if they can empower and gamify that with the user like ourselves or the common folk, they're obviously going to be able to obtain more information, more relevant information that's going to improve their products. So it looks like Opiria has actually been dealing with a lot more of the cars. Now, I always go through the white paper, but it was quite technical and talked about just how the token and things work. If you want to read more about that, you can do that on your own. So what I did want to do is just play this little video. It goes for 2 minutes. I'm just going to expand it and play it, and you can get a bit of a grasp of what it's about. Click this, expand, press the button. It's beautiful.
They need human insights and personal data from consumers to design innovative products and services and to better target marketing and sales activities. This is why personal data is the oil of the 21st century, and data brokerage is a $250 billion US per year business. So, what is personal data? It's any kind of data we are producing every day anyway. This can be how you browse the internet, what you buy online, data from wearables, or how you use your smartphone, and way more. Today, data brokers collect personal data from consumers without their knowledge or consent and sell it to companies for huge profits. They are violating consumers' data privacy and don't even compensate consumers. As a result, consumers are starting to protect themselves by refusing to disclose their personal data or by providing fake information. The effect is that companies are getting less data in lower quality. The current model is broken, and both companies and consumers lose. We set out to change that. With Opiria and Pdata token, we are building a decentralized marketplace for the secure trading of personal data based on the blockchain. A company can request personal data from you, like your web browsing and online shopping behavior for the last 3 months. If you decide to share this data, you'll get paid with Pdata tokens. Due to blockchain, your data privacy is completely protected. Even better, you can create an income stream by selling the data you're producing anyway. On the other side, companies get quick and easy access to high-quality data. And an unfair advantage over stale data brokers is Pdata's breakthrough model, which enables companies to gather new and unique data streams by using eye tracking, emotion analytics, and gathering data from wearables. That means, with Pdata, both companies and consumers win. Opiria and Pdata token are democratizing brokerage of personal data. Visit our website at www.opiria.io to find out how you can become a part of this revolution.
All right. So there you go. Like I said, that I actually invested in Data Wallet because when I first saw some of these platforms, it did interest me, and I will be setting up my own data hub at some stage. I'm just sort of still trying to get my head around which one I'm going to go with, whether it's Pdata or Opiria or Data Wallet. I really need to have a look at how it all works and how the applications work, and I'm really big on. I want to make sure, I want to have that confidence in it, and I want to be able to know that it is encrypted and my rights and of information is being protected. So there's still a little bit of, I think there's going to be a lot more confidence to be built in this particular niche. However, like I said, I think the concept as a whole is fairly mind-blowing, and I think it's going to be one of the biggest passive income earners for everyone if they get involved, and I can see that being the main element to all of this, and it's probably going to be one of the biggest niches within blockchain. I haven't actually downloaded the application as yet. I'm going to. I want to have a look at it. Like I did read in the white paper, they've been operating for some time, so their application, it does exist, and that's probably the big heads up for these guys, or the big tick, is that they've already got a product, and if it's already got some history and it already got massive relationships in place, you can see that they've already got the wheels in motion towards being a feasible entity leading into the future, especially in regards to blockchain, because it is a race to get to the front. So you can get the application from your favourite download store. It's got Android and Apple. What else have I got? Got lots of tabs open. I always like to share these little bits of information I find. I do spend a couple of hours looking into things before I go and talk about them. But there's always more to learn, and you've got to dig into the dark pockets and get on the Telegram, and sometimes you've got to go and watch the YouTube videos. But the one thing with the Pdata token is that there are a couple of benefits, and I just wanted to share what they are. So there are two benefits. It's going to be a utility token. So since we already have the platform, minus the blockchain element, the time to market for the platform, including the blockchain element, is much shorter than if the development would start from scratch after the TGE. So essentially, there's a lot of blockchain entities out there with a vision and an idea, and if they're doing an ICO and you get involved, however the product's not there, and that's what's giving me a little bit of confidence with this one. They've already got a working product, they've already got relationships in place. I'm actually going to do another video on another one that's got a working product. It's not actually doing data, but it's going to be encrypted communications, and they've got an application. They've just been working really hard in the background to get their application up before they go and launch it to the public, and I think that's a really good, diligent way of releasing all of this. Gives the consumer a lot more confidence. The second benefit is consumers that hold Pdata tokens have an advantage over consumers that don't hold tokens. If a consumer holds more Pdata tokens than any other consumer, he or she is more likely to receive a personal data request from a company earlier than consumers with less Pdata tokens. This gives consumers that keep a larger pool of Pdata tokens on hand, on average, a small time advantage to sell their data to companies. So there's going to be a little bit of leverage. So the more tokens you've got, you're going to obtain more attention from consumers. I think it's more like a ranking, I suppose. So there's still a little bit of information to be obtained, and there's a whole heap of FAQs here that I'd like to look into a little bit more. Just clicking on, are the tokens or unsold tokens going to be burned? Yes, tokens that are offered that are not sold get burnt. Anything going to be unlocked? Tokens will be distributed immediately after the ICO. Pdata tokens will be unlocked 30 days after the TGE. So there's just little bits of information here. You can go and read up on that if you're interested in that type of thing with the tokens. Like I say in every video, blockchains is the gamifying and tokenizing of niche markets. And in 20 years' time, everything's going to be based on our activity and our involvement with tokens, and the more active you are with these particular platforms, the more money and incentives and passive incomes you can earn. So it's going to get quite a few people off their bums, I think, and it's probably going to open up the doorway for a lot of people who are not necessarily in the best financial position to actually obtain more passive incomes just by being active in certain platforms. And I think that's the greatest benefit of blockchain. Even if you look at Steam It, you can earn money from blogging. These type of things where you might be a professional surfer, you might be doing product reviews and things like that. You can use that information or whatever you're doing in your life and sell it to a corporate entity who's interested in your activity for a passive income. And if that pays a little bit of the electricity bill at the end of the week, then it's got to be a benefit. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. Just bring some awareness to the data mining entities in the blockchain. There are quite a few. You can go and have a look at what they're all doing, but this video was about Opiria and the Pdata. They've got a working product, they've got massive relationships. It's about time we took a little bit more control of our information, more mindfulness in regards to our footprints. I had a friend of mine the other day say he cancelled his Facebook page. I'm not quite willing to do that. I use it a lot for business, so doing a lot of sharing of my gym and other things that I'm doing. I don't really do too much of my private stuff, and probably I'm going to be doing less and less and less of my private stuff through Facebook, because I've lost confidence in that privacy. Really liked that. I felt really good about being able to have a private conversation with a friend about personal things without having Mark or other parts of the internet spying on just I think it's just a basic right. And some people sort of say, oh, if you've got nothing to hide. And I sort of said, well, what's the scenario? You're standing there and you're having a private conversation with a friend and someone else comes up. We've all had that feeling where you sort of look at the person and go, oh, look, excuse me, I'm just having a private conversation. I mean, the information wasn't world-breaking, but it's just that human decency and respect of being able to have an element of privacy between one and another. And I think that goes for everything that we do on the internet. So exciting times with blockchain. Let me know what you think of Opiria, or maybe you've seen another one that you're really interested in. I think it's an empowering part of this whole experience in crypto, and I can see it being of great benefit to everyone. So thanks for watching, guys, and yeah, check me out on Steam and of course on YouTube if you like it or not. That's cool. Hopefully it added some value to your crypto experience, and thanks for support, and tune into the next video.